And happy Friday. Good morning, everyone. Or if you're watching this on video at some point, hello. So, I am going to continue on. This is the second part of digital inking for my Morningmonster coloring book, page 8. So, let's go ahead and open that up. And that's the Leviathans swimming through the ocean. Alrighty then. Let me see. I don't quite remember which. Okay, we're at that level. Now we're going to do another layer. And go ahead. So, I was doing this in order, going backwards from background to foreground. So, looks like it's this guy's turn. So, let's zip on in here. And start laying down some lines. As I said on the previous stream for this, I am really loving Manga Studio. It's I just can't believe the lines. I was talking before my husband left. I was telling him that trying to get him to see the lines and the difference between the hand-drawn ink lines that are the light background and these really beautiful smooth lines with all the weight difference and how easy that is and how smooth that is, and I really love it. Not that I'm ever gonna go 100% away from traditional, because it's what I started with and what I will always love. I'm finding a new love, and just hope Bill isn't jealous, or my other mediums, because I'm really liking this. It's managed to speed up my process, which has been a constant struggle for me, trying to get things done quicker. Since I work a day job, this all has to be done around that, around getting stuff done at home, any kind of socializing that I might do, and stuff that I got to take care of. And so that can seriously eat into the time you get anything else done. And it's a constant struggle to find that balance to where you can work on your art projects and get them done quickly. Because in the case of a graphic novel project that I'm wrapping up, the artwork for that's taken a really long time for a variety of reasons, and partly due to trying to find a faster way, realizing, this is taking way too long, to waiting for other people to get their part done, or life just getting in the way, like a couple of moves, losing a job, then finding a job, overtime. But near the end of that drawing part for that project, I finally started getting more pages done a week with the limited amount of time I was gotten. It's really helped, just every day doing a little bit of something and eking out a faster rate or faster way of doing it, and eventually you get there, or you start making progress. And I know, like I was saying on the previous video, especially for line work, I am definitely switching over to Manga Studio for these kinds of things. I'll still do my color work and putting the comic books together in Photoshop, although Manga Studio is really meant to do comics. I just, I'm still learning the program, and the easiest part right now, and the part that's giving me the most trouble time wise, has been my line work. And I am really happy with this, as you can tell. So let's see, what else? Wow, I'm drawing a blank at the moment. It's Friday. Wishing that Thor Ragnarok was here, but it's not. Looking forward to doing a Halloween decorations, because it's the weekend before Halloween, and Bill and I are going to be putting up our decorations. And we went crazy last year because we had just bought the house a few months before Halloween, and it was our first Halloween in a house, because we've lived in apartments up till then, and there's no real point in decorating the house or the apartment, because we were just not getting trick-or-treaters in the different places that we lived. And one of our small joys is handing out candy at Halloween and decorating. So we went hog wild last year, a little too hog wild for our budget, but we had a great time, and it was an absolute joy watching Bill hand out candy. He was just giddy, like, where are the kids? Where are the kids? And seeing the smile on their faces, seeing the smile on his face. Oops. It was just a joy, and I'm looking forward to seeing it and doing this year. We've got some new decorations to add in. We're going to be we got this fun shimmering black light. We're going to be painting some of the decorations that we got last year with blacklight paint, and hopefully some of that will pop out. we got a new talking piece. Last year we had a ghost. This year we've got a bird in a cage. So yeah, and we've got the Atmos. It's this thing where you can project scenes onto windows or scrims. So, and we got a Halloween version, and it was a lot of people commented on it, and it was really good. So we're doing that again this year. And and while I'm thinking about it, if you have any questions on any questions, I guess, whether it's live here on the stream or later on in the comment section, I check the comment sections periodically, so please ask your questions, and I will do my best to answer them in a future video or in the comment sections. Or you can email me directly at gene@rltpress.com, and I will do my best to get you an answer. Now, I'm drawing this on a Wacom tablet. I think it's a 21-inch. It's an older model. And like I said, I'm using Manga Studio, although it's their digital download version, so it's Clip Art Studio, and I think Manga Studio Studio as a name has finally gone away, and they've just fully switched over to Clip Art or Clip Paint Studio. Nope, I keep getting this name wrong. It's Clip Studio Paint Pro. Sitting there right at the top of my screen, and I'm bungling it. But hey. And let's see here. Line. My coffee cup for a line. I'm hoping to have this coloring book at the printer sometime next month so that I can have it available for Christmas. So I've already got people saying when's it going to be done, which is always nice. But it also puts a lot of pressure on you to get it done. So, but I don't think I'll have any problem. I know I've been behind on my Inktober's, and I'm using those as a basis, or to fill in the coloring book. Too many projects on my brain. But I think it's an achievable goal. And if it's not for Christmas, then it'll definitely be out for the new year. And I know I was also hoping the graphic novel would be done from editing in time for Christmas, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. A little disappointed in that, but hey, it's not just my schedule I have to consider. My collaborator was very, very patient with me with all the stuff that happened and all the setbacks. So he can take as much time as he wants perfecting his story. But I do hope we get it out here in the next few months, because I'd like to ride the momentum of my creative energy and start working on the next comic book project, because I've got my personal one, which I've been sitting on top of for a couple of years now, the Protector Cores, and I was doing single issues, and I've decided to switch over to just doing it all at once. Mostly because with the current graphic novel project, it used to be called Intersections, now it's called The Deathbringer Prophecy. Went through so many setbacks as single issues. I've decided I just am going to do this all at once and get it done. But that's going to take a while, because I'm a one-man show. Yay! And once I start it, I don't want to be stopping and starting like I was on Intersections and Deathbringer. Because during that time period, because at one point, let's see, when I started the comic book stuff, I did, my first one was Protector Cores, issue 1, and then I did issue 1 of Intersections, and issue 2 of Intersections, because my section of the original was small, but I still put it together, and I had to do some remastering at that point, some line finishing. And then what else did I do? I think I did issue 2 of Protector Core, and then I did the kids' book, Between Here and the Lint Trap, with Desmond, and then after that, issue 3 of Intersections, and then Rich, I think I took a short break, and then Rich got me the final script, for the double-sized issue 4, and that took me a while. And in and amongst there were moves, a new job, some life events, got married, um, and yeah, that took a while on that one. And then Rich decided he wanted to just jump to color and not publish the black and white issue 4 of Intersections. So once I got all the line work done, I started doing the color work, and then we found out another company, a bigger company than us, was publishing a book called Intersections, and we just decided to head off any issues with that and changed the name. And after thinking about it and considering the story, he changed it to Deathbringer Prophecy. And I want to say I finally got all the color work done and lettering. I want to say a couple months ago. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a couple months ago, and it's been in his hands since. No, I'm not liking that line. Let's close in there. And but he runs a comic book store, and yeah, he's got a life too, so it may be a little while before we are completely done, and then there's time at the printer, and definitely we'll be announcing it once it's all done and ready to sell. I'm looking forward to that, being able to put it on my con table next year at Rose City Comic Con, or whatever convention I end up showing at besides that. Oh, Rose City Comic Con. Oh, I have got to say, out of all the conventions that I have tabled at, Rose City Comic Con has been the best for me. It's one of the unexpected pleasures of having moved to Oregon from California. My convention experience as an artist and as an exhibitor has been a total 180 for me. Not that I had bad experiences. I mean, I've had a couple. I had art stolen off my table. That kind of thing. Had rude people. But you get rude people no matter what venue. But I never had made my table. And if you're unfamiliar with that, that means that the cost of buying the table and being at the con was recouped. And not that I ever saw my going to a convention, or tabling, when I say going to the convention, as anything more than just getting my face and work out there. Because if you think you're gonna be, raking in the dough, especially as a beginner or as an unknown, which well, I'm certainly not a beginner. I'm still very much an unknown. You're not going to make a lot. And up until last year was my first year I actually made my table. And I was stunned, absolutely stunned. Bill was with me, and I was trying something new, and boy, am I glad I tried that, because I tell you, it was a big difference. Now, what was the difference, you say? Tell us, Gene, tell us. Well, all my other conventions up to that point had been focusing more on my indie stuff, my comic books, my kids' book, and some of my line it is drawn stuff. And even then, when I first started, the line it is drawn was not a major thing on my table until about 3 years ago. In fact, on my very first Rose City Comic Con, and that ended up being most of the stuff that I sold. But then even then, I didn't make my table until the following year, and uh, following year, people came back to people came back to my table. They recognized me. I had more line is drawn stuff, but I started drawing superhero minions, and all by a fluke of a friend suggesting that on Facebook one day that, hey, you've never drawn Wonder Woman. Why don't you draw Wonder Woman? I'm like, oh, well, you're right, I haven't. But I wanted to do something different. And if you watch this channel or get to know me, you are going to find that I love minions. I know it's silly, 50-year-old man liking minions, but I'm a big kid at heart. And it's something that I have, I don't want to say prided myself on, but it's something I've guarded with fierceness, is that I will not give up uh, on being a big kid, because it brings me joy, and especially in this day and age, I need some happiness. At any rate, so I did Wonder Woman, Minion Wonder Woman. You can see it's my Twitch icon, and when I'm not running, my business card is on the placeholder for the video, and that was an instant success as far as people wanted that image, and I decided to do the Minion Trinity. So Super Minion and Bat Bob, and that sold like hotcakes last year. And Bill and I just sat dumbfounded at how many people just came and wanted that, and all ages. I mean, it wasn't just little kids; it was adults. They loved it, and in fact, I had to I ran out of prints the first day, and I had to send Bill to get me more ink and paper while the con was still going. So because the store that was near our house would have been closed, and I would have been screwed. So it was just astounding, and I made my table that Saturday, and everything Sunday was gravy, and I just turned that money around right back into making more prints. I got a piece of equipment, a new printer scanner that handles the kind of artwork that I need, or size wise, and print side wise, and the quality. And then this year, same thing. This year I had more superhero minions. I added the rest of the Justice League for the upcoming movie. So Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash. And then I did some Marvel ones. What did I do? Spider-Man and Thor so far. But again, also more line it is drawn stuff. And if you're unfamiliar with the line it is drawn, I'll mention that a lot, because that's one of my other big art things that I do periodically. It's an art blog that comes out every Friday on cbr.com, comicbookresources.com. And basically, our moderator every Friday puts out a theme along with the previous week's, the artwork for the previous week's theme. And it's all mashups on comic books and pop culture, what have you. And like my very first one, when I became part of the line after the contest, uh, was mashups of Marvel and Star Wars. And I picked the tweet Galactus versus the Death Star. And I believe that is. I'm not sure, I can't tell right now, but I think if it's not on my Twitch channel, then if you go to any of my other websites, you'll see the baby Galactus nod on the Death Star. It's one of my favorite images that I did for the line. And that has just been a treasure trove of ideas, of artwork, and I've made some good friends. There's some really good artists. There's some people who are consistent tweeters and suggesters. And if you haven't heard of it or tried it out or to participate, I urge you, go to Comic Book Resources or go to RLT Press. There's a link, or any of my websites, because GeneGilmet.com has a link to all my social media. The line, well, there's a link to the line on this page in the panels. Click on it. Please go enjoy it. Because I'm not the only artist. There's a pool of like 20-something artists that are still involved. I mean, there's the current crop that's involved every Friday, and then there's people like me who participating, but our work doesn't come in like every couple 2-3 weeks because of scheduling or projects. Some weeks I have time to do every week. Lately I haven't been able to. It's been about every 3 weeks because of Inktober, because of this project or that. But I still promote it. I still participate when I can, and because I just love it. I thoroughly enjoy doing it. It keeps me on my toes as an artist. It makes me think of things, or it gives me opportunities I wouldn't have thought of for myself as far as art subject. And I can't say enough positive things about it. I really enjoy it. And so I hope you take a moment, if you can, and go check it out. And if you like it, please join us on Fridays and tweet out your suggestions, and hopefully your suggestion will get picked. Because that's one thing the artists don't know who, when we get our suggestions on Saturday, we just get the list of suggestions. We don't know who the people are. So it's a grab bag. And some people, there's a couple people who are regular suggesters, and they just tweet out tons of stuff, and so they get picked a lot. So the more you tweet your suggestions, vary them, the more likelihood that you might get picked as far as your subject matter. Alrighty. Let's see. Oh, and I think today's Friday. Stranger Things. Oh my God, Stranger Things. Season 2. Oh, I can't watch it until Bill gets home. We ditched cable down to minimum because they jacked our cable up. So much. And so we decided to go to Netflix, and I think we watched Stranger Things about 2-3 weeks ago, and binged it, and oh my god, that is a fantastic show. And I have been, we both have, I should say, looking forward to season 2, and it dropped today. So I suspect we're going to be watching that this weekend. Because it's just going to have to be at a time when I'm not going to be getting anything done, because it's when that's on, especially for the first time, I can't get any work done. In fact, one of the main reasons we went to Netflix as well is because it's got all the Marvel superhero shows, but every time we seem to think to sit and watch something, I'm drawing and got to get something done. And we've been on Netflix for a month and a half now, 2 months, and we just started watching Daredevil. And I decided I didn't want to just binge it. I wanted to make it last, considering that the seasons are so short. So we got to watch another episode. I think we've only watched the first episode. So far, so good. I'm liking it. Daredevil was never a comic that I read growing up, and it's not on my comic pool list as an adult. I was more of an X-Men and Fantastic Four, or basically anything that John Byrne did. Although my very first comic book was Star Wars #1. And in fact, my latest line, It Is Drawn, If You Go, is actually a mashup of Star Wars #1 and the Fantastic Four. Because Star Wars was the very first comic book I ever bought as a kid at Inyo Kern Market. And Fantastic Four was the first John Byrne superhero comic I ever bought, because I was introduced to him via the X-Men run, but they weren't my comics. I hadn't heard of him. I hadn't heard of the X-Men. I wasn't really aware of superhero comics. I was too busy reading Star Wars. And someone introduced me to that, and I thought, okay, well, let's see what this John Byrne person is doing. And he was doing the Fantastic Four. So I think I started reading that when Galactus came and Frankie Ray was in there, and when she became Nova. And was hooked ever since. But yeah, John Byrne's one of my favorite artists. He has influenced my work, has been an inspiration since I was a kid. So I've been serious about my art and wanting to draw since I was 10. Well, I was drawing well before that, but I didn't get serious and say, this is what I want to do, until I was 10. My third grade teacher, Mrs. Butler, noticed that I really liked drawing. We went, the class went to Inyo Kern Park, which was not too far from Inyo Kern Elementary School, and we had watercolors that day, and we could paint anything we wanted. And I sat down, and I remember this one tree. I still have the watercolor. I keep meaning to get it framed. And I was really serious. I wanted to capture this tree. I wanted it to look as real as possible. And by the time class was over, I still wasn't done, and everyone had to return. And I asked Mrs. Butler, can I please stay and finish this? I really like it, and can I please? And she let me. And shortly thereafter, I think she contacted my parents and that he really likes drawing and painting, and my parents started getting me art supplies and encouraging me. And when the summer between, let's see, Mrs. Butler was third grade, but by the time I was moving up to junior high, so 6th to 7th grade, my parents got me a one summer, um, like, I got to learn from a professional artist, kind of a tutor. And it was like once a month. Was it once a month? Maybe it was once every couple of weeks. I'd go to his studio for several hours and draw, try to learn a little bit more. And then when I got to junior high, I was, boom, in every art class I could possibly take until like all the way through high school. And I ended up in accelerated classes, and I was the first for the Sierra Sands School District. I was the first art student in their GATE program, and all that meant was I got to take as many art classes as I wanted, which wasn't that much, but I got to go up to the college, the junior or the community college, and take classes with adults, especially when I was in high school. When it was in junior high, the teachers and school district just, well, yeah, okay, he can be in the GATE program, but we really don't know what to do with him. So it was cool, but it was really didn't do much. Other than acknowledge, I guess, that I was a good artist at that age, which was nice. But at that time, I just wanted more art resources and to learn. And my art teacher, Mrs. Thompson, she was my longest art teacher because she was in junior high for the most part and all through high school. She was amazing, and she's the one that taught me to not stick with any one style, and to appreciate other ways of doing things and expressing. And she worked hard especially in a school system like Sierra Sands school system at that time. I don't know what it's like now, but at that time, especially in Ridgecrest, it was art was not the arts, I should say, was not as high a priority as sports that I recall. And when I was in high school, there were art classes, there were music classes, no drama club, or drama classes. There was just drama club. And in fact, they didn't get art classes until after I was out of high school. Excuse me. But yeah, that's Mrs. Thompson was wonderful. I keep looking for her periodically, and I can't seem to find her. So one of my old high school friends said that she sadly passed away, but I can't even find that information. So I like to think that she's still around and doing her work. And if she isn't, then I don't want to think about that. I want to bring everything down. Happy, happy. Joy, joy. Oh, let's see. And squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. Hello, Leviathan. I'm sorry I didn't see you there. If you're still there, welcome to the channel. I get caught up with my uh, doing my lines, and my second screen with the chat is off to the side. I'm sorry I did not see you pop up, but thank you. Hello, welcome. And let's getting some more squiggly lines in here. One of the differences with the original work was all done for Inktober, and I'm hoping with redrawing this stuff, re-inking it digitally, not only can I refine the lines, but I can add a little bit more stuff to color, more interesting shapes and so on, because again, this is all for a coloring book. And some of my pieces, some of the pages are very simple, and some of them are fairly detailed. In fact, let me see here. Let me save this real quick. Oh, I haven't been saving. Let save that first. And open up. Yeah, see, these are all my different morning monsters, and you can see, like, Shy here, and Crooked, and my very first one, number 1, and Morning Coffee are all fairly simple. But then you have Dewdrop Dragon here, which is a bit more interesting as far as detail. And then my sword one, which is coming up, and I'll open that one up here real quick, is really detailed. And I think one of the things I'm going to do with the comic, or I keep calling it a comic, oi, because that's what I've been doing. One of the things I'm going to do with the coloring book is you'll get, let me bring this down here. You know, a page. You'll get a page like this where you've got lots of room to interpret the spaces. In fact, with Crooked here, I've been coloring some of them digitally for my own self. And let's see here. Yeah, and for Crooked, where'd she go? Inktober. Here we are. Is this? That's the JPEG file. So that's what I did color-wise, and that's all digital color. Excuse me. But as you can see, I also did shading, because once I did the line work and got it scanned in for the coloring book, I went back and did shading work to add more depth. But for the Inktober part of it, which is not part of the comic book art, because the comic book art, and obviously you want to let people interpret the spaces and colors for themselves. So, but I think I really liked how this turned out. So yeah, so there'll be pages like this, and then there'll be pages like this, or in between, so that to give a variety, and they're all interconnected in that they are monsters, or that there are monsters in the piece. Okay, let's get back to this one, because I have only a few more minutes before I've got to sign off for the morning and start getting ready for the day job. And hopefully soon I will work out a schedule of some kind. Because when I work from home during the weekday, which I never quite know when I'm going to. Mostly it's weather dependent, but it also depends on other factors. I'm able to do this during the weekday morning, but mostly I do my work after I get home, or my artwork when I get home from work after dinner, or on the weekends. Yeah. Let's just redo that whole line. I'm just not liking that. Yes, but I am already looking at trying to figure out a schedule for this because I am really enjoying this streaming. And it's not just going to be artwork all the time. Although it'll be different art projects will be the main focus. But I'll also be doing some game streaming because Bill and I are huge gamer bears. And in fact, I think I've streamed. We've been playing Secret World together. But he plays a lot of games by himself, and as do I. But we're the main game that we play together, yeah, Secret World. And once we're done with the storyline for that one, I want to move on to something else to play with him on. But he plays way more video games than I do because I've really got to focus on my art, and playing video games is kind of a reward to myself for having gotten artwork done. So let's see, do I have time to start that one? You know what the heck. First off, let's get rid of that selection. And alright, why is that selection still there? I said deselect, didn't I? There we are. Okay. And try and not make these such angry eyes. That was not my intent. They're just big beasties slowly gliding through the water on this alien world, in this alien ocean. Whales are one of my favorite animals. Humpback whales specifically. I also really like dolphins. Currently, my favorite animal is squirrels. As you'll see in the other video, there's another video where I'm coloring the flying squirrel one, Swift. Yeah, I like my animals. I have one squirrel that comes up to our screen door on our patio and takes granola bar pieces right out of my hand. And so I've started calling her Granola. And if you ever hear me on one of these videos going, "Oh, hey girl, how are you?" That's Granola. Or me talking to Granola, because she does this little granola dance, is what Bill and I call it, because she'll come up to the table on the deck and she'll kind of stop and do this back and forth looking, and then she'll stand up and she'll put her hands right next to her chest and she'll look like, hey, are you over there? And like this little happy dance almost to get my attention. And sometimes that's literally what's happened is the only reason I know she's there is she's making that movement out of the corner of my eye. And I was telling Bill about it for the longest time, and he's like, "Oh, that must be cute." And finally, he was home one morning, and she came by, and I'm like, here she is! Look, see? And after that, he would notice her first sometimes, and she'd start to walk up to the window, and then he'd turn around because his desk and chair are closer to the screen door the door than mine, because we share the same office. And as soon as she saw him, she'd start to run away. And I caught it one time where she saw him, she started to back up, and then I walked in, and she turned and looked at me, stood up, and did her little dance, and c'est la vie. And she's really adorable, and sometimes she's a little greedy, and she's gotten very comfortable with me. And she's now taking food from Bill, although not regularly, and she's still a little unsure of him. But we get a lot of squirrels here, but she's the only one I'm willing to hand feed, because I do not want 10, 20 squirrels come into this house and banging at our screen door. Oh God, it's taking a screen door. One morning, Bill was getting ready to going for work, and I was in the shower. And when I came out, he's like, "Gene, I was at my desk, and he had the blinds closed, and he heard something on the screen door. He's like, what the hell is that?" And he opened it up, and we're pretty sure that it was her. She had climbed up onto the screen about halfway, and as soon as he opened it up and looked at her, she stopped and just froze and then ran away. I was like, ooh, she's getting bold. So I've cut back on how much I feed her. Sometimes she will do her dance and I won't do anything, because I need her to know that she isn't always going to get fed. But for the most part, it brings me no amount of joy. Or no, I didn't mean it that way. It gives me a great deal of joy. Feeding her and just watching her, and the birds. We've got a bunch of jays and other birds that come to the patio and eat the bird seed. And we've got a possum that comes by at night sometimes. First time I saw that damn thing, I was like, whoa, what the hell? I had never seen a possum before in real life. I'd only ever seen them in pictures. So, and I've overdone my time. Oh, alrighty. Well, I'm going to sign off for now, and I will stop here on this one, and continue where I left off, either tomorrow morning, probably not tomorrow morning, because we've got a bunch of stuff we got to do, but the next time I'm on and working on the comic books, the coloring book stuff, it'll be this piece, so that we've got a nice series to completion. Anyways, have a great day, and thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.